Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Heisman Talk, your number one source of college football news on YouTube. I'm here, Nate Dogg, with my co-host Devonair D. Jackson to break down this week one's Game Day Pick'ems, our first week of the 2021 season. And D, like I said yesterday in our ACC predictions, it's great to be back. And as you can see behind me, we finally have helmets for this week's game of the week, Georgia versus Clemson. But D, before we get to them, we've got a few other games that we need to discuss. So let's jump right into it. First off, we have Penn State at Wisconsin. Now, D, these are two teams last year that really struggled in the Big Ten to find their mark. And in the past, we've seen these teams have great success. Now, both of these teams come into the 2021 season prepared and ready from a full off season. Penn State ranked number 19, Wisconsin number 12. They play in Wisconsin or at Wisconsin. Wisconsin favored by 5.5. D, who is your first game day pick'em of week one?
And, I think it's going to be a close one. I'm going to pick Wisconsin. And the reason I'm picking Wisconsin, man, I talked about it in our Big Ten preview. Graham Mertz, man, I think Graham Mertz is going to come in and he's going to show out, and Penn State's just not going to be able to stop him. I just think they're going to be able to run the football when they want to. They're going to be able to pass the ball when they want to, and so that's why I'm going to go with the Wisconsin Badgers.
That's a great pick, D. Penn State has a veteran quarterback in Sean Clifford, but he hasn't really shown anything that makes us believe that Penn State can get it done with him. I wouldn't be surprised if Penn State switches quarterbacks midseason, but that's for a later episode. For this game, D, I'm going to take the Wisconsin Badgers as well. I think along with Graham Mertz, you think of a veteran defense at Wisconsin that's really strong, has a lot of depth, and also D, and I'll mention this in a lot of preseason pick'ems, home field advantage. I mean, D, this is going to be a year that we weren't used to last year. And Wisconsin Badgers take this one close. So our next game, we head to the great city of Atlanta, where the Alabama Crimson Tide will be taking on the Miami Hurricanes. And D, we talked about the Miami Hurricanes last episode yesterday in our ACC predictions. We talked about, where they rank in the ACC, but D, overall, they rank number 14. Alabama ranked number 1 as usual. Alabama comes into this game ranked favored 19 and a half points. D, is this game even going to be close? Who are you picking for this one?
In all honesty, man, no disrespect to the Miami Hurricanes, but I just don't think they can compete. I don't think they're on the same level as in Alabama. I would definitely pick Alabama to cover on the spread. I'm definitely taking Alabama. I think they dominate, man.
Yeah, D, I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. I'm taking the Crimson Tide as well. But don't be surprised if this game's a lot closer than most people are expecting it to be. I think this is one of the most unique years for Nick Saban with the Crimson Tide in terms of new guys coming in. And even he's been super honest about it. So, yeah, I take the Crimson Tide, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I don't think they're going to cover the spread. So then we jump out west again, and we go to Iowa, where Indiana, ranked number 17, takes on Iowa, ranked number 18. And D, again, these are two teams in the Big Ten competing for a championship this year. Some of these teams, these two teams have made a name for themselves in the most recent years. I believe Iowa's favored by 3 points. So D, the spread's pretty close on this one. Who do you have winning this game?
Man, we got some good matchups this week. In this game, India versus Iowa, I'm going to take the Indiana Hoosiers. I talked about them in our, predictions, and, I like their team. They came out of nowhere last year. I think, more people are going to be looking out for him this year. But I think, if Michael Penix can stay healthy, this year they're going to be good. But for this game, I'm definitely going to choose Indiana because of Michael Penix.
Not so fast, D. This will be the first game that I disagree with. I'm taking the Iowa Hawkeyes. D, this is a team that I truly believe could make a push for the Big Ten championship this Big Ten championship game this year if they're healthy. They've got a star center along with many others on the O-line. They've got a lot of depth. Their center is predicted to, I think, go first or second round the NFL draft. Some question marks on defense, Steve, but I think the Iowa Hawkeyes are one of those mid-tier teams that could surprise some people. I'm taking the Hawkeyes game one.
Maybe.
So then we head down south to the great state of Texas, D, where Louisiana, ranked number 23, takes on the Texas Longhorns, ranked number 21. D, this is Steve Sarkisian's first game as head coach. Brand new quarterback just announced a couple of days ago, and freshman or sophomore, I should say, Hudson Card taking the round. Texas favored by 8. D, 4:30 kickoff. Who do you have?
Man, I think Louisiana, they want to try to pull another Big 12 upset like they did last year at the beginning of the season when they beat Iowa State. But for this one, man, I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen. Don't see it happening. I really think Texas's talent is gonna overwhelm Louisiana. I think they're gonna cover the spread. I think it might be a little bit more. They do have a lot of new pieces, including their coach, Steve Sarkisian, trying to come in and build his culture. But I just think talent's going to win out. I think Hudson Card is going to come out and play phenomenal. I think he's going to rush for over 50 yards this game and throw it for over 300. So, that's my prediction for this game. And I think Texas easily covers the spread and shocks some people by how they come out and play versus Louisiana.
Wow, great pick, D. Great pick. I tell you what, the Raging Cajun, nothing against them. They're going to be a great team this year. Hopefully they'll stay within the top 25 throughout the season. But D, I'm going to have to take the Texas Longhorns on this one. And like you said, I think Hudson Card is going to come out and show people what he's all about. And my bold prediction for this game, D, Bijan Robinson rushes for over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think they're going to run all over the Raging Cajun defense in this one. And yes, they will cover the spread. And I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns. So Texas Longhorns take this one. So then we head out west, where LSU goes on the road to play in the Rose Bowl against UCLA. Indeed, UCLA kind of has the advantage in this game. They've already played in week 0 against Hawaii, where we saw them blow out the Warriors 44-10, I believe it was. It wasn't even close. Now LSU comes to town off of a very disappointing season last year, but they're looking for Max Johnson at quarterback for answers. They bring in a new OC, a new DC, a lot of question marks. Can LSU get back to where they were in 2019? LSU only favored by 3 points in this one. They come in ranked number 16, UCLA. Like I said, 1-0, but unranked. D, who wins this?
I got LSU, man. I just think that, I don't think Dorian, Thompson Robinson for, the quarterback for UCLA has really seen the speed he's going to see from LSU's defense, man. Not only that, but you have 2 guys that are essentially going to be, I think, very good NFL cornerbacks in Elias Ricks and Derek Stingley. I think Dorian Thompson Robinson would throw at least 2 picks this game. And I think that LSU will come away with the victory. I like Max Johnson and what he did last year. And I see him coming on and having a good season this year.
Great pick, D. This is one of those games where I'm kind of on the fence. It's only a 3-point spread, and LSU's got a lot of question marks. Chip Kelly at UCLA, but I'm going to have to agree with you, D. I'm going to have to go with the LSU Tigers purely based on overall talent. Like you said, their secondary is probably one of the best in the nation in terms of talent. We didn't see much of it last year. I think we'll see a lot more of it this year. But don't be surprised if UCLA gives LSU a run for their money. This is one of those games where it's tough for me because I could potentially see an upset, no doubt, especially in the Rose Bowl. But yeah, I'm going to go with the LSU Tigers as well in this one.
Yeah, Vegas thinks it's a toss up, so it could be. It could be.
Exactly. So D, then we go to our game of the week, and where you're at Bank of America Stadium on Saturday night, that crowd is going to be roaring between the number 3 Clemson Tigers and the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs. This is a game that everyone has been looking forward to since day one of preseason back in January. And D, again, a couple of teams with a lot of question marks coming into this season. We talked about Trevor Lawrence departing from Clemson to the NFL. JT Daniels gets a full off season at Georgia under quarterback under offensive coordinator Todd Monken. Defense gets full reps this year, but tackling drills in the offseason for each team. D, who wins this game?
Oh, man, I think above my name, you need to just put, or not above my name, but above my head, you need to just put experience, experience, experience. I have the Georgia Bulldogs winning this game because of experience. Clemson has a lot of new pieces coming in. At that quarterback position, at that running back position, some offensive line guys, rotating in. They do have Justin Ross coming back, but they do still have some new receivers they're rolling in. And so I think, with all that, with all the new pieces that are moving in, Georgia's kind of, stable from what they were last year with JT Daniels at quarterback, with guys like Kendall Milton at running back and Kenny McIntosh and, a lot of guys that are, have been in those same spots last year, Jordan Davis on the defensive line. So I think experience wins out here. And that's why I'm taking the Georgia Bulldogs to beat the Clemson Tigers.
D, the last 2 meetings between these 2 teams, first time was at Clemson, second time was at Georgia. Both home teams won. This year, it's neutral siting. And like you said, both teams are kind of banged up. Georgia has some injuries. We heard Dabo Swinney saying that they're going to have 3 centers rotating starting for this game. So that's going to be an interesting take too. But my decision, I'm going to have to take the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I think JT Daniels is going to have a monster game. I think it's going to be a really close game, but in the end, Georgia wins by a field goal. Go Dogs.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a really good game.
Absolutely. Well, D, when we come back next week, we're going to predict week 2 of Pick'ems, and we'll also discuss a recap of this weekend's games. So stay tuned. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, and turn on your bell notifications so you get notified when we post a new video. Get ready. Game day is here. As always, this is Nate Dogg and D signing off.